And it's always been interesting to me. It's been interesting to me, this whole concept of reality and where are you? Somebody if somebody says point to where you are in yourself. When you ask people a lot of that, they point to their heads like they're in their mind.
Mhm.
Um, and so I've read a lot of stuff, I've experienced a lot of things about different places that we are, or where we are, or who we are, or what we are. And so I love these kind of stories of um, experiences that people have that are in the out of the normal awareness, I guess. So I just always find it interesting, that whole system.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I find these moments actually, I must say, the most influential in my life, if you can
Mm.
say, the most precious, the most expanding and impending. And it feels they are out of thought. It
Mm.
feels like in these moments I enter a state of completeness
Mm.
and clarity, which on a daily basis for me is a oh wow, is just difficult.
Mm.
And in these moments, it's immediate, it's unquestionable, it's just one.
Mm.
It's beingness and create, like it's beingness and creatingness in one.
Yeah.
It's just and it they I receive, they give me like unimaginable power. It feels like they are strengthening everything that I kind of explore and implore on a daily basis, which is so questionable to the external, to the
Mm.
context, which is so unimaginable to the context. It feels like everything, this experiencing, it feels like I can settle more into it through
Yeah, I know
such,
what you mean.
through such situations. They just settle me into me, and it's very effortless. And although the situation is as externally perceived very difficult, for me it's so easy. It's like it's the other way around.
Mm.
It's just so much the other way around.
That makes total sense when it makes total sense in a very
Mm.
in a you way. And also I get what you're saying. I think it's because in those kind of moments that are real are more real in a way. Because to me that's actually the realest sort of genuinest space
Mm.
because it brings us out of the ordinary illusionary sort of state. And there's no option to be within the illusion in those moments. Like, so there is only the sort of oneness, the presence outside of the illusion. Um, and that's probably why it feels so much more real or easy or genuine because it is really the genuine, I feel. Yeah. And I've been kind of feeling more into the experience of these kind of more moments like that more often in the everyday. and being more, um, I guess, kind of attuned to noticing moments that can bring me back into that sort of state,
Mm.
closer to that state, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of things, it's just really about the awareness.
Mm.
It's not really about having to do anything. It's just being aware. Hmm. But yeah, it's definitely an adventure. You've been on a bit of an adventure in that
Yeah, yeah.
in that way.
Quite of a ride. Yeah, quite of a flight. Yeah, very beautiful. Actually, I love these moments because I also love them because they give me a special sense, experience of clarity in relation to the external.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
as if they give me the right to be in relation to the external.
I actually get little glimpses of these same things without the crisisy aspect to it, but just in the sense of the number of synchronicities that seem to happen, and it's like they're kind of pause moments to be able to pause in those kind of awarenesses of synchronistic events. It feels to me more and more like I can see the kind of underlying pattern or something that's kind of weaving its way in and out through um, through my life, and the interconnectedness with other people, and sequences of events and things that happen, and sort of being able to recognize them more and more, and sort of from a sort of expanded perspective, being able to more and more kind of see this hidden hand of, I don't know if it's pattern. It's not really pattern. It's kind of like intelligence, I guess. But there's a weaving of events that I'm sure I orchestrated to begin with. But being able to witness them and to see them more and to be more observant of them, and really it's just that pause in there. But and they kind of, the more I've noticed them, the more I seem to notice, and the more I can interconnect them in a way, um, which is a really cool thing. And even over long pans of time, as far as Earth, as far as Nessie human version of time, that is, in a sense, not long spans of time over the infinity aspect. But yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Mm. I guess this is what I was telling you too about your writings, because the We Infinity on Earth aspect is, it's almost like all of these pieces that have been gathering as aspects of myself over time,
Mm.
and they, little parts of them pull together in little bits, like almost like a puzzle coming together, a jigsaw puzzle, creating a picture. And um, it's almost like I no sooner see the picture and feel this kind of like wowness, and a sort of a sense of stability in that. Um, and you yourself or your writings, or just sometimes the combos we have, or um, sometimes just the usness. It can be something that kind of like gets all the puzzles again and throws them all around, all the pieces, and throws them all around everywhere again, and almost goes, what was that picture again? And then I go, wait, like what? You know, there's this sort of for a second at the you just what the puzzles all pulled apart again. This can't be right. And then it's like this kind of awareness that in that there's an alignment in that space as well, like in that state of not together, there's a togetherness, there's a completeness and a wholeness in that space as well. And actually I was thinking, because I just finished doing the she recording thing with Bruce, when I was listening to my own voice speaking that that came through me about she, it was interesting because of this whole aspect of experiencing the self as the light. I felt when I read your writings, the last one I was reading, I think it was the dolphin one, there was a point there where I kind of felt like I disintegrated all of the me back into the darkness and into the nothingness. And then I was in that space for a while, and once I felt calm within that space, I started to see like aspects of the light, but they were moving and they were in this fluid motion all over the place. And I kind of just wanted to follow them out of curiosity, out of sort of delightful curiosity. I wanted to follow these aspects of the light wherever they were going. I didn't want to be them. I just wanted to sort of witness them in a way, like just sort of, and just get a little kind of a taste of each of their own unique kind of journey as the light, where they were going, how they were feeling, why they were going there, just kind of, but not in a conscious analytical way, just in a kind of an experiential kind of a delightful, joyful kind of like curious way. Yeah. So, and those little sparks of light are kind of like your words. Like, it's like following them. It's like following them out of curiosity. And yeah, that was the experience I had that sort of was super emotional. And why am I telling you this in relation to this conversation?
It's very relevant, and it's very touching, and it's very true. It very much relates to the space-time dimension, reality, continuum, universe, multiverse, whatever source, where I am in this sense of what is true to me, and how these writings appear and evolve and disappear. It's very relevant. It's very relevant. It's touching into the essence, what you've just said.
Mm. And I guess that's why I brought it up, because we were talking about these moments within that happen in life, like what happened with you recently, and these moments where you kind of feel, it's kind of that feeling in the sense of being when you're outside of the illusion, and there's almost like there's an element of disintegration because it's the, but within the disintegration, with outside of the illusion, when you're in that space, there is that
Say once more.
completeness in that. There's a more, the real sort of a space. It's like there's a beauty in it. There's a stillness. There's that completeness, and it kind of it reminds me, actually, not kind of reminds me, but those times when we sit in being and can come into that place the she space, the WeAM space, and there is this kind of infinite, that kind of completeness in the presence, in the stillness of the present, in that space, in that now space, and in that kind of omnipresent way that it's that kind of a feel, I guess. But yeah, I guess it's relevant because we're just talking about these things that take us into those moments where we have no choice really, or not that there's no choice, but where it takes us into the reality, the real reality out of the illusionary state. And then there's other times where we consciously take ourselves there.
Yeah, and I also feel that this is very choiceful. That this is very choiceful. That it's that this experience is based on choice.
Mm. The will or the desire, whether we remember it or not, and becoming more and more aware of the fact that really consciously everything within our reality is something we are creating. The external world is really a reflection of an internal aura. It's more of a projected world than a reflection of the real world, in a sense. The words, I don't know how you manage to find these amazing words that you find. Um, Beautiful. That's another question I was going to ask you another time, actually. But I've got all these questions I want to ask you, but I keep deciding to wait until we do our interview where I can interview Aleksandra and ask her all these things as part of the podcast. One day. But yeah, it's definitely lots of interesting things. And I do very much love your reverse the order of everything. So
yeah, it feels so. And it always, in a way, in a way, this is what I live. But on the other hand, each time I surprise myself as if.
yeah. Yeah. It definitely creates in me anyway. I appreciate, like, I have an awareness of the concept that, the conflict, any conflict that I feel is actually within my own self or within my own. There's actually is no conflict. I consciously believe that, the suffering or the conflict and what what we go through in this reality is more because we're out of alignment with the divine truth of who we are, or with the frequency that we are divinely resonating with. So when we're out of alignment, the further out of alignment we are, the more we might experience like what feels to be conflict or separation or anything that's in those lines of emotion, experience, and that it's coming into the oneness, or really understanding, believing, knowing, remembering that there is only one. There is only one. And therefore there's nothing to be in conflict with. So obviously when I feel the conflict, I know, what is this conflict? This is me creating a question, or not accepting and then accepting a state of being or awareness, or us being in a state of forgetfulness. I'm not sure the right words to use there. Anyway, I think you perhaps are on the what wavelength of what I'm saying. But yeah. And I'm bringing up this thing about the conflict because there's aspects to the instability that arises in me from those kind of moments that you're talking about. There's a part of me that loves these real raw reality moments and wants to run towards them at every cost. And then there's another part of me that feels quite so destabilized by them that kind of wants to run the other way and go, ah, because it's the integration of them in my world. And I think, well, I'm not going to say that thought because I know it too is incomplete and limiting, and it's only my limitation, so I don't want to speak it. But yeah. So I guess you must get this too, because I am very much aware of the parts, or there's some of the aspects of you that I've experienced that are very out of the illusion in that more real kind of beyond place. And I'm also aware of the fact that you are also a person who that goes through the same kind of challenges and everyday things and stuff that, you know, um,
Yeah, for me, the most destabilizing are like, again, it's the opposite. Very often, my mom tells me, like, you do not need to sense it so much or worry about this so much or take it into you so much in relation to very tiny situations, like very tiny in the sense of daily happenings, which for me are the greatest challenge. And the on the edge life death experiences are the, I don't want to sound stupid, but are the easiest because they are the simplest in this sense. They
mm,
are the most, yes, they are the real. And I experience the greatest challenge with the non-reality that touches me from the external. Yeah,
mm,
external, internal, reflecting each other. Okay, but still there is something that I perceive as external to me. In a way,
mm,
as if this stuff that touches me the most, that has the most destabilizing effect on my system, is in a way, in a way, not, it's really, it's external in the sense of it's from the context.
or the construct.
It's the context, it's the construct of the context. Yes.
Mm. I was sort of meaning, trying to be cheeky there. I was kind of more meaning the construct of the program, the construct of the illusion, or the, yeah. But yeah, I get what you mean. This has been my yeah, I don't know how to mm, I'm trying to be very careful with my words. I guess dilemma, challenge, similarly. So even in my desire or willingness to want to even talk with people about things, I would, if you I would much prefer to talk even about some of those things regarding the sort of deeper understandings or reality of things than to talk about the things that are part of the matrix of it doesn't interest. It's harder for me to have those conversations than it is like, it's kind of the reverse as well. Like it's a lot easier for me to have conversations about, the general nature, structure, meaning, purpose of reality than it is to have conversations about, who's the latest politicians that are running the country and why, or, or any of the stuff that is sort of in that sort of sense of, because it just doesn't, it's that non-reality of it, you know, but yeah. And so I guess there's a sort of an unfulfilledness in a way in being, which it just makes me kind of laugh really, because to think the number of times when I was younger and I just wanted to fit in and I just wanted to be normal. And I thought that if I could fit in and be normal, I would feel this fulfilled feeling. And and actually it's like the least fulfilling. Like it's this full the circles. The circles, sister. Yeah. And I so appreciate you. I so appreciate. Thank you.
So much.
Mm.
Yeah.
And also, I appreciate the fact that I thought amongst my world for a long time that I was, I don't know, I guess the 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 stretches that I am for a lot of people when it comes to my sort of differences. Um, I get this with you, so I'm kind of like I'm in this flipped situation with you because um you're the one that's creating expanded you're the one that's helping disintegrate and create that kind of um exposed feeling within me. And a lot of the time in my life I've been the one that's been that to other people, that's created, in a sense, a kind of conflict or instability in them, but something that has been, I don't want to say the word needed, but just sort of how it's had to be, or I don't know.
Yes, I guess it's needed because there is much needed. It's not, I mean, because to me it feels like it's almost, you talked a few minutes ago about disintegration and the completeness, and now you also mentioned disintegrated and complete, integrated. It feels like
Mm,
it feels as if they are happening instantaneously. They are happening instantaneously. And also in relation to this needed, there is the potential for the immediacy of aligning, of being, of presence. And at the same time, there is an infinite need to reorganize, to reorchestrate, to readjust, to remove.
mm,
Like stability and instability, like as it's like conflict and harmony.
yeah.
It feels like they are merging into each other.
Mm. But then, in the sense that there is only one, it's more like a breath, then. In the sense that there is only one, but it doesn't mean that either of those aspects of things are mutually exclusive. They are constantly integrating and
Yes.
doing this kind of, as you say. So that is actually the solution to the duality in the sense, because there's the one, there's the two, but there's, and the three, but it's all the one. So because it is that breath in and out. And it's interesting because when you said there's it's infinite disintegration and integration. And there was a little part of me that when you said that, there was a little part of me in this sort of the gut area that kind of went, ugh, because, but at the same, then when you said an integration, and then I went, ah, like, it was like, ah, ah. kind of because there's this like kind of aspect to me that feels like my entire life has just been constant dynamic change, and I no sooner get to a point where I go, wow, oh, and then something else happens, destables me, and I go, oh, and then oh, and it just on it goes. It's like there's this little part of me that's kind of like tired, just wants to go, can I just like, can we just stop time for a little bit? Can I just like stay in the, can I just stay in the, just for a little bit longer, just let me stay here before the next comes, just, because it feels a little bit like, but I guess it is that, and it's accelerating because it's you know, when you say you're on this path where you're in a surrendering state um to God's self, then
God also includes dog.
yeah, that's why I don't like using this word. I noticed you've said this before, dog God.
So it's really this kind of, it's fun. It's
But
really
wait, when you say dog God, are you meaning the essence of kind of drawing the attention to the fact that dogs are gods as well? Or are you just kind of, is there a different meaning into why you draw attention to that flip in the word? Because I know there's a lot of flips in words. You
yeah,
know this.
yeah, there is, but I guess these flips of words, they also, yeah, that there is God within dog. This is no doubt. But the point is, with the flipping, the point is that the opposite meaning association is programmed into it, is used.
Mm. Yeah, I get you with that, like live and evil and lived and devil and um there's a lot of them. But what I wonder though is what do you, because I've had this issue lately actually of what do you call, I used to say God, goddess. I used to do goddess because I didn't like the connotation with God. I don't like the connotation with any of them because they've all got loaded meanings, messages, perceptions, programming into them. So, for a while there, I was using Great Spirit. I was using all that is because, um, God's self. I don't know what to really call I guess the I am. I was actually,
Mhm.
um, yeah, and coming to this real different awareness in, I'm just going to be quick in this, I know we're running out of time, but this real different kind of awareness of some of the religious programming that I went through as a child, and understanding sort of Jesus's message more in a metaphysical Christ consciousness way, expanded way, than in the way, the control limiting way that I was taught them. And so the my grandma had this thing on the wall when I was a kid that said, I am the way, the truth, and the light, and no man comes to the Father but by me. And it was a Jesus quote. And of course, we had a limiting aspect to that. And the way I see that now being, nobody comes, you can't, the way to God is through the I am, is to understand that I am is the way, I am is the light, I am is the path. And it's the remembering of the I am that allows us to find the God within. And so looking at a lot of these different understandings of sort of Jesus's expanded Christ consciousness quotes without the context of the definitions of religion or the words that are defined in the programming is interesting. Same like angel, using the word angel has there's so many of them. So what words do we use? What do we use words? Hence the reason I think there's so much more light language coming out, that's sounds and tones and things that we understand intrinsically and that affect our coding and our body and our remembrances without them being words that we identify in human languages. But yeah, anyway. I love these kind of conversations. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, sister.
Are you needing to go and eat now?
Yeah, I guess it's perfect time for me to go down and have my, yeah.
and I'm going to head off to bed. But it's really great talking with you again,
Of course.
sharing these kind of
Mm, yeah.
the
Thank
depth. No, thank you.
you.
Much love.